In today's video, we're going to go over staining. Step 1, PPE, personal protective equipment. You don't want this stuff on your hands. Step 2, find the dang stain. Aha! Found it. So I've got a couple of Lazy Susans. These are going to get turned into lazy trays. So these are going to get stained. And then once they dry, they're going to be getting some handles. And I know that doesn't make sense yet, but it will. Now, when you're staining, there's a very simple philosophy that I go by. A little goes a long way. First thing we do is we get inside the crack here. Another thing that you have to be very careful with, especially with this dark walnut stain, is if you get it on the band here, you have to get it off with a rag almost immediately because it will stain it, of course, and that just doesn't look good. We're going for a certain look. You don't want it to be too thick, but you also don't want it to be too thin and for it to come out too light. So it's kind of just a happy balance, you know. But like I said, a little goes a long way. You don't have to use, you know, half a can. It's not anything that's you have to use a ton of. So like another thing is you can come over here on the sides. You can't really tell, but you can, whenever you actually get some on here, in order to get this and it's dry, you don't have to go back into the can. Once you're at this point, you can kind of come back into the groove or hit these spots that are super wet, and you can just move it around. Okay. So, I guess that's going to be the key lesson of today's video, is that a little goes a long way, and you don't have to take your time. You don't have to go super slow, but you need to go slow enough that you make sure that you get every spot, but not so slow that it's, you know, not time effective. It's a happy balance, you know. You want to get this lip right here as well. And once we get that, we're going to take a rag and wipe every bit of this off. Okay. You don't want this stuff sitting on there for like half an hour because then it becomes gummy and then it becomes difficult to actually take off. So first things first is we're going to go all the way around and we're going to hit that band all the way around. Then go through the groove. And then the top. Check that out. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, you might think we're done. We're not. One more thing. Jackie Chan Adventures, if you don't remember that one. Good old uncle. One more thing. Now, this is the part where you really, really have to be careful, because if you're gonna get stain on the band, it's right now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit this outer ring here, And yes, this part of the Susan doesn't traditionally get seen. However, this is just like a quality thing, you know? When you flip it over, you shouldn't see raw wood. It should all be finished. Now, the inside here has charcoal and is burned, so technically that's a finish. And we've done it to where I've stained and oiled the inside and the black, tried to get it nice and shiny, and that way it has a finish on it. But I just don't really care for the way that it comes out. It doesn't look as good, in my opinion. And you just got to go all the way around. And then, like I said, we're going to double check. And then the other one that I really like to do here, that I've been doing here lately, is I'll hit the actual turner. This is going to just give it that little bit of pop. Makes it look a little bit more professional, because it's just like a pine 2x8 that I cut down to be what size that I need. But I need it to look better than just a pine 2x8. So you got to sand it and then stain it, and it looks a lot nicer than what it actually is. But it's just these little extra steps that you know, aren't really necessary for the piece, but they make all the difference if you you know, sit back and look at it. You know, that looks a whole lot more professional, you know. And, you know, I always want to try and make it as nice as physically possible, but there we go. That is the staining done on this bad boy. Now, I'm going to go ahead and keep the video running and do the handles at the same time so you can go ahead and see that aspect as well. Now, sometimes we do these with engravements, but this one I don't believe isn't getting an engravement. Usually when they go with the dark walnut, they prefer the look of the wood. And this one I think turned out looking really cool. There's like a mark right here from the original milling of the boards that comes through, and it just looks really cool. There's a saying that I like to say that, you know, sometimes the beauty in something is in its imperfections. And I just think that that's a really cool saying. And it's just true in a lot of aspects of my life. Things don't have to be perfect. They don't need to be perfect. But they need to be close. You gotta do your best is what I'm saying, I suppose. And of course, guess who forgot his drill in the other room? I'll see y'all here in a little bit.